Hey guys, we're back in the kitchen today. Our purslane relish mixture has had 24 hours in the fridge, soaking, I guess, with its salt. So we're going to take it out, give it a rinse, strain it as much as we can, and then we're going to move on to canning. So I'll try and kind of give you a look here. I don't know, does that work? There's our mixture all stirred up. As you can see, it's kind of dehydrated a little bit. So we're just plunking it down here into my handy dandy strainer and giving it a good rinse off. Like I said yesterday, recipe calls for 2 tablespoons salt. I tend to put about 1.5 because I don't like to excessively rinse away all my nutrients. But there's rinsed out of the thing. And I just kind of use my hands and get it under the stream here a bit. Pretty simple. It's looking pretty good. I also think that's the advantage to not pureeing it up too small, is you don't end up, it doesn't seem to hold as much moisture. So we've done that part. I'm going to put it back into the same jar. I kind of just give it a little squeeze. You can see all that, I want to say, slimy mess. It has a name. I don't know what it is. I could Google it and put it in the bottom if you really want to know what that sinewy stuff is called. This takes just a second. I'm doing kind of quickly here. You can see what I meant about the red peppers in there. I do think it looks very, very pretty. Maybe at the end I'll show you a jar I did orange peppers in, and I don't think it looks quite as nice. Tastes the same, just not as pretty. Alright, we're just about there. Just going to give these guys a little rinse all down to one end. Don't want to waste any, so I got to get it off my hands. Helps to use cold water instead of hot. And there we go. Perfect. So I've gone ahead, just to save time for our video, and pre-measured all my spices into one little container here. I'll show you in 1 second. So there we have our spices. Basically, recipe, very, very simple. I like simple. It's a half a teaspoon of each ingredient. I've got whole mustard seed, ground mustard, nutmeg, turmeric, dill seed, and dill weed. All half teaspoon each. Very, very easy. As I said, other recipes seem to call for celery seed. We actually prefer the dill. So dump her in. We're going to give that a stir about. Like so. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to stir it in when you mix in with the vinegar, sugar, and heat. So it's just kind of to give it a little swirl around. And then we're going to, I was going to hide that I use pliers on my oven, and then we've kind of moved along, and now I'm showing you that I use pliers on my oven. One day, when the kitchen renovation happens, who knows, maybe we'll showcase that. So, element is on. Got my big pot. I shouldn't say my big pot, I have a really big canning pot. This is just kind of a smaller one that I use for jellies and such. And we've got, so we've got half a cup apple cider vinegar. We put that in. And 3/4 a cup just white sugar. And put that in. And then we're going to stir that around, get it to a boil, and then we'll add the mixture and bring all that to a boil. While that is happening, I'm going to get my jars into the oven to sterilize, sanitize, whatever. Yeah, we'll come back when we're ready to can up. Alright, so as you can see, we are boiling away here, so we're going to add our purslane mixture carefully, because if that splashes you, believe me, it hurts. So we got it all in here, get all the good stuff all off the edges. Oh, it smells so good already. So there we are, all in. We're going to stir that. This needs to come to a full boil, and then it'll be turned off and ready to can. I mentioned my jars are in the oven. I use an oven method to sanitize, sterilize. Basically, I bake them at just over 225 for 10 minutes. Still doing my lids. Here, I'll take one out just to show you, but the traditional in the water bath method. But I just find the oven method works better for me. So we are to the canning phase. We've got our mixture boiling. Jars have been in the oven for 10 minutes. Our lids have been boiling, so we are ready to go. As you can see, I've already started. So we've got our jar just pulled fresh out of the oven. I pull my lid ring, gives it a little time to cool for my fingers. Our funnel, which was also in the oven, so sterilized. Our mixture. Usually this recipe makes 5 jars. Sometimes the last one's a little skimpy. Just depends on how it went and how it cooked. Maybe I should say it's, yeah. We're going to get 4 jars and probably a little bit extra. Fill it kind of to the bottom of my funnel. I always poke down with a knife because you don't want any air pockets, bubbles, that sort of thing. Good like that. Push it in. Then this is still very hot, so I'm being terrible because oven mitts I find too bulky. I usually use a fresh paper towel. Sit that back in there. Magnet for our lid. We wipe our rim, lid goes on. I always use fresh inserts, or new inserts, I guess you would say. I don't have any problem using the outer ring second time, third time, but we do not throw the old inserts away. I use them for our yogurt and things like that. We also keep our milk in the fridge in jars, so sometimes you can use them for that. If they're really scratch damaged, obviously I do throw them out, but if they've got a bit of life left but not good for canning, it's a great way to keep them going and use them. Also, I do think it's a good idea to hang on to them because you never know when you won't be able to buy more, and sometimes in a crisis situation, you will use them even though it's advised not to. So I don't think there's anything wrong with hanging on to them. So here we are. This guy's good to go again. We're cooling off enough. I can lift that. Just give it a little shake down. Put it in there. There we are. You want to leave 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of head space in there. We're going to water bath it for 10 minutes. And then it'll be good to go. Let me get one more. Might get one more. Didn't know I could can so fast. I'm moving faster than I normally do. I don't think it's going to make it. Let's see. Nope. So as you can see, you get 4. Occasionally I get 5 if I go a little bit generous with my 4 cups of purslane. Or sometimes your onions are a bit bigger or your pepper's a bit bigger. But we aren't going to make it. I might still put it through the canner anyways, but it's probably going to be a sit in the fridge one for this time round. Of course, you're stuck. There we are. Yeah, like I say, As you can see, that last jar is not full by any means. That guy off. Just because I want to use his helmet. There we are, carefully lifting because I don't want a jar to fall out. I already had my water in, of course. Oh, I did make it. Need to make sure that the water covers the top of the jars. Lid goes on. And we'll put that on there to come to a boil for 10 minutes. We'll kind of finish off here with some of the ones I've already finished from previous batches. As I said, this is batch number 5. Here is an example of the one I did with the orange peppers. And this one here, you can see the red. I just think it's a little bit prettier. But next step is taking them down to the storeroom downstairs and organizing and, yeah, seeing what we've got down there. Potentially a future video, we'll see. Anyways, on to the next thing. Thanks for watching.